So these are my thoughts on the Vince Staples Show, a new series that just came to Netflix. I think like a month ago or something like that. And I really want to start off by saying I really want to like this show. I love seeing artists expand their medium, and I think it's a shame most don't ever try. But my admiration for the show ends there because that's all this really was, an attempt, and a pretty bad one at that. Well, I feel like calling the show bad is pretty harsh. A more accurate description is half baked and not entirely thought through. All in all, the stories we see in this limited series are just not finished. At least that's what it feels like. For one, we know absolutely nothing about Vince Staples as a character, other than that he's Vince Staples. Good luck relating to him if you've never heard of him before this show. We have no idea who he is, what he means to the people around him, what his goals are, and what his purpose is. He could be replaced with literally anyone else, and these stories would be exactly the same. Just having a small bit of character development and world building would go a long way in keeping me invested in the show and the character of Vince. It's like the show just skips over this important part of storytelling and suffers immensely for it. The writers were like, yeah, they know all about Long Beach and Vince. They'll be alright. But that's just not how it works. Vince, as a character, is all over the place, in my opinion. His acting is decent, but it seems like they just told him to be himself on camera. And honestly, that does work for him. Some of the issues I have with his character is that it's just not entirely consistent. Like, why was he so damn mean at the amusement park? I mean, these are kids, bruh. I feel like this was supposed to be a funny part, and it was to a point, but it also comes off as unlikable and a bit out of character for him. Speaking of this episode, what the fuck was actually going on here? Like, what was the point? In fact, most of the episodes in this show have absolutely no fucking point or resolution. They're just mini vignettes of Vince reacting to situations he finds himself in. There's no agency, often no stakes, and most importantly, no purpose. Instead of composing the show in this way, they should have focused on one important thing and built the show around that. Like him getting the cereal deal. That was actually pretty cool. That could have been the entire plot of the show, and they still could have kept all the weird and crazy shit in it too. It would have at least had a meaning then, instead of just instances in Vince's life. I'm hammering this point home because meaning and stakes is why people like stories and therefore TV shows in the first place. Without them, people won't keep watching. It's not enough to just have weird shit happen. There needs to be a meaning to it as well. And I'm not saying that none of these episodes have meaning. Like the last one, White Boy. I think you can look deeper into the episode and realize the loss of innocence White Boy's son experiences in the episode in relation to Vince's lost innocence as well as that we see in the beginning, all centered around having lost their father figure and having to grow up without one. Or the family reunion episode and how awkward family interactions can be once you have made real success. Both of these episodes have a deeper meaning that we can grab onto and, more importantly, empathize with. I think if they would have made these episodes an hour long, hell, the whole series should have been an hour long. We could have really seen what this show was all about. But even these two episodes, the best in the series in my opinion, still felt like they weren't finished. Either because there shouldn't have been a B plot, or because they should have been an hour long from the jump. I really want to like this show. I think this show could have been great. I'm not sure if that's because they're scratching that Atlanta itch or because it's an actually promising show. Maybe it's both, but it just doesn't quite hit the mark for me. I do think if the show had an actual focus and a goal that the main character actually is going toward, and some actual character development and world building, and also was an hour long, then I think it would be a great show. I really want to see what kind of stories Vince has to tell, and I hope Netflix give him the opportunity to tell them. All in all, I think it was a pretty decent show. Aside from the gripes that I have, I want to see more. That's the big thing. I want to see more because I feel like Vince, he's an important storyteller. I think his views are different, and I like his acting style as well. Most of these shows were written in part or directly by him, so I just like to see more. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section because I've seen a lot of people, like on Reddit and other forums, say that the show is really good. They derive a lot of meaning from it, and then a lot of other people are kind of like, there's nothing here. The show, an episode will end, and I'm like, okay, what's the reason for me to go on to the next one? There's no story. But just let me know in the comments. Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know. Peace.